Can private citizens own warships? Well, American citizens can because of the protections in the American Constitution. It's a document written to be easily understood by any citizen. So if you are reading it and studying it and you see an unfamiliar word, the correct definition of that word is how the founders intended it to be defined. Like, for example, the word militia. What were the founders getting at when they added that word, militia, and the militia amendment to the Constitution? And that answer is very easy because there is so much literature of the time explaining it. And clearly, the Second Amendment was written to protect citizens in their rights, their long-standing rights, to lawfully resist an unconstitutional tyrant, using their own privately owned military-grade weapons to do it, if and when they needed to do it. Now look at this French word here, the word marque, which shows up in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the Constitution. Congress shall have the power to grant letters of marque and reprisal. And look carefully at this. The word is French for boundary or border. And this clause gives Congress power, all the power they need to assign military authority to private citizens who own big military weaponry, like privately owned 32-pound cannons on privately owned warships. And the letter of marque gives these private citizens the full authority of the American government to cross any border in pursuit of American enemies, and then use any power to capture enemy assets. And have we done this in America? Yes, we've done this. We've done this a lot. Back when Congress had a little bit of courage and they understood the dangers of war and the horrors of war and wanted to keep wars from escalating, wanted to put an end to them quickly. In 1812, for example, after Britain declared war on the United States, Congress authorized John Ordino and Peter Trevald, two private citizens in America, to take their private warship loaded with private cannon anywhere in the world to engage and seize British ships, military or private. And if Congress had that same kind of will today and really did hate evil, they could issue these same letters today. And we certainly have non-state enemies like terrorists and pirates and hostile insurrectionists and drug cartels and sex cartels. And I personally know quite a few private individuals who own the necessary gear and have the necessary training to go after modern enemies. And these are private citizens. To go after these modern enemies and put an end to the sex trafficking, the drug trade. And they would be doing this legally and privately and efficiently without dragging the entire American war machine into the problem. But to issue these constitutional letters, Congress would first have to admit that private American individuals can legally and constitutionally own military-grade offensive and defensive weaponry. This is a constitutional reality, and they know it. I'm Jeffrey Botkin. Continue to read your Constitution and study the history of the time, and then tell others what you are learning.